Hey, what's going on? It's the Petrol List.
Hey, what's going on? I'm gonna fix that light. Hey, morning, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List. And before I get started, I just want to say a very Merry Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, check out what we got. I say we because I don't need a microphone without you guys. So it is a gift for me, but it is a gift for you all as well. I don't know if that's creepy. I was trying to be funny. All right. All right. So speaking of Christmas, Formula One might be gifting us with that one thing that racing fans have been asking for the last 2 years. And that is a group of cars that are all competitive against one another and not just one that is completely dominant. Now, I always kind of put this disclaimer out there. Red Bull and Verstappen, they did a great job in 2022 and 2023. They definitely earned those two championships. But there has been, a negative impact because of that. And that is, experts are saying, not just me, but experts are saying that Formula One popularity, although it's been growing over the last couple of years, is it starting to peak? Is it starting to plateau? Because new racing fans are being introduced to the sport, and what they're seeing is that one team wins the championships, year after year after year. Now, I know there are going to be people commenting, well, what about Mercedes and all the victories that they had? The racing was at least close. This is a new thing where one car leaps out in front and stays in front for essentially the whole race, and we know for a fact nobody else is winning. Even in 2021, when Red Bull won the championship, it was extremely close. It was so close that the championship was decided by one key decision. And that wasn't a decision by any of the teams. It wasn't a decision by any of the drivers, but that's just to illustrate how close it was. Now, what do I mean by the gift of competitive cars? Well, the W15 is going to be a completely new car as compared to the W13, W14. Now, W13, it debuted with the zero pod concept, and that was extremely problematic because the ducts on the side, they weren't wide enough to provide sufficient cooling to the engine. And so when you have cooling problems, you have power problems because you can't maintain full power throughout the duration of the race. You have to tune it down. You have to tone it down, otherwise you're going to overheat and you're going to DNF. They were able to mostly fix that by putting bigger side pods, but then there was a second problem, and that was the aerodynamics. We're in the ground effects era right now, so the floor pan is incredibly important, and Mercedes had a huge problem that lasted in 2022 and 2023, and that is the gearbox. The gearbox was either too big or misshapen or whatever, but the result is that they couldn't make the floor pan adjustments that they needed to increase top speed, downforce, and stability and predictability. So you had a slow car that was also difficult to drive. Because Mercedes supplies the engine and gearbox to McLaren and Aston Martin as well, you had three teams that should be competitive that couldn't really optimize the performance of the engine and the chassis. So with the W15, they've decided to go with that smaller gearbox, and hopefully that fixes those problems. So not only will it fix the problems for Mercedes, but it will allow Aston Martin and McLaren to fix their aero problems as well in the floor pan. That means that you've got three teams that could possibly be competing for podiums, for wins, maybe the championship. I don't know, but it's definitely something that is needed because Formula One is a business. I always say that, and they can't wait 2 more years for some good racing. And even Red Bull fans, Red Bull themselves, should be looking forward to this change because without the competition, it is hard for fans to tune in. And if you have ratings that plummet, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the business. As a matter of fact, if these changes are a flop, I think even Europeans are going to start watching NASCAR because it will be the most interesting motorsport available to the mass market. Because I honestly was getting a little bit bored toward the end, but I'm a Formula One fan, so I watch all the races regardless. Now, wait, there's more. Ferrari, the SF23, that is said to be 95% new as well. So not just 3 teams, but 4 teams. Maybe they're all competitive. Now, Red Bull isn't going to be, resting on their laurels. They're going to be hard at work. Maybe there's more speed left in that Red Bull, more performance left in that Red Bull that we didn't even see because they didn't necessarily have to tap into it. So it's not just the current margin that these teams have to watch out for. It's the current margin, that existed at the end of the season, plus whatever Red Bull is doing in the off season. So there are some major gains that need to be had to make 2024 interesting. I hope it happens. I think everyone out there should be hoping that it happens because even if Red Bull wins another championship, it would be nice if it wasn't decided 3 races in. Maybe not numerically, but you could already tell. 2026, I'll get into that just a little bit, but 2026 is a long way away. But we do have a couple of things to look forward to. The cars are going to be smaller, so that means they're going to be narrower, they're going to be shorter, they're going to be lighter. Those are all good things because we've said it many times. The cars are too big for the tracks, especially some of the city tracks that they're trying to go to. And some of the historic tracks, the cars need to get a bit smaller again. They need to be able to pass in more places along the track. As a matter of fact, just touching on 2024, the W15 is rumored to have an extra 10 to 17 kilometers per hour on the straight. That is definitely needed because in this ground effect era, most of the passes are happening at the end of a drag race. Who can get to that next turn first? If you don't have any top speed, you're not making a pass. If you're not making a pass, you're stuck behind a car chasing it with dirty air. If you have dirty air, you have less downforce. If you have less downforce, you have less traction. And if you have less traction, your tires fall off quicker. And there you have it. You have a non-race race. So hopefully that gets fixed, not just a little bit next year, but in 2026 as well with the new cars. Now, there is one thing that I don't like about the new cars for 2026, and that is the V6 they have in it. It's already 1.6 liters. That is a tiny little engine. Makes good horsepower, though. But the FIA is going to be reducing that horsepower in exchange for more horsepower to be created by the MGUK. That is their, I forgot the acronym, but that's their battery and electric motor. Now, let's be realistic for a second. Formula One is a business. And that business model moves its entire infrastructure, a small town, if you will, from continent to continent, from city to city. The amount of jet fuel, truck fuel, construction equipment fuel, all that kind of stuff that they must go through moving that around. I don't think that reducing the horsepower by, 50 horsepower per 1.6 liter V6 that runs for, 3 hours a week. I don't think that's going to make a dent. That's like sneezing into a hurricane. It's not going to make a dent in the fuel spend. It's for perception. And it's probably a larger carbon footprint to do the research and development and put together these new power units than it saves to run them for the minuscule amount of time that they're going to be running during the races. So it's for looks. 1.6 liter V6. I mean, the V10 era was amazing. And let's not forget, there are only 20 of these cars, running on the entire planet Earth. I don't think that saving 20 horsepower, 50 horsepower on a 1.6 liter V6 when there's only 20 cars, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. But the FIA is committed to that. I don't know what Formula One thinks about it, but the FIA, that's what they want. So, I mentioned that FIA was kind of a clown show last week. More clown show stuff. I don't want to stay on that because I think the net is going to be positive. 2026 is going to be some good racing, but like I said, I'm hoping big hopes for 2024. They're taking the MGU-H away. I want to say that is an electric component that goes onto the turbocharger. So they say that the 2026 cars are going to have a little bit of turbo lag, and we know how I feel about turbo lag. It'll introduce another challenge for the drivers, promote a little more driver skill, and the cream of the crop will rise in terms of who can handle that. It'll be interesting. Who can handle that accelerating out of the turns? Just another little tidbit, tantalizing racing tidbit for you there that you can wait for in 2026. Okay, I think that's the end of the video. What do you think? What do you think of the lighting? What do you think of the sound? This little channel is evolving, and I think it's getting a little bit better every week. So I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Let's keep this thing getting bigger. I have fun just doing this, so I'm in it to win it. I'm going to be doing this, every Monday unless it's a major holiday like the one that's coming up. I will post in the community if I will not do a drop on Christmas Day. Maybe I put something quick together over the weekend and drop it on Monday. I'm staying consistent here, so let's maybe look for something. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm out.